President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that, and let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer the
very
question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe that
answered the
black voters
question.
should trust you with another
I have
4
been
years.
the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln.
Better
That's my answer.
than President Johnson,
my
who signed the
answer.
Voting Rights Act.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other.
Hey, what's going on? This is a political brown kid here. And I trust me, I was not going to get back on the microphone. I was kind of giving this thing a rest. But I'm just going to kind of do some things because we are in some interesting times. So I'm going to pop back up periodically and start doing some more recordings, starting with this one. Now, I looked at Trump at the NABJ, I think the NABJ, National Association for Black Journalists. And I did watch that. And the thing that I'm going to say is this. I think that, number one, he didn't do a great performance. So, and I'm not a Trump fan. I've told people that before. I do believe that, I'll say this, underneath the Trump administration, even though he had a lot of disasters, a lot of turnover within his cabinet, just a lot of bad optics, a lot of things, I can dive into it. I'm not going to go into it in this video because then I'll be talking forever and I'm trying to be concise. But the one thing I will say is financially, the money was flowing. The money was flowing very well. And if you were a middle class or upper class black person that was doing, doing what you were supposed to do, gainfully employed, you were making money. If you weren't making money during his administration, then I don't know, then you were doing something wrong. That was on you. What a lot of black people like to do, because trust me, I keep telling y'all that I know a lot of poor black people. I just do, unfortunately. A lot of them are women. Not to put down women, but those are the people that I talk to on the phone. Because once again, I'm a single man now. So the people that I interact with, unfortunately, these are people that come across my path. So that tells you the people that I get to meet in my life, right? But they are so gung-ho for Democrats, regardless of if it's a black Democrat or a white Democrat. They're so gung-ho for a Democrat because they get free stuff. They get poor people stuff. They get free stimulus checks. they get their student loans written off. They don't get substantive stuff. They don't say, oh, well, okay, well, food prices are low and inflation is low and I can buy houses and I can, the stock market's going up. They don't Democratic people don't look at things from that perspective. They just look at things from handouts. They don't look at things from investing and business minded from a pure capitalist standpoint. I'm digressing. So let me get back to this journalist thing. Once again, Donald Trump did not turn in a great performance. He missed the mark on a lot of things that he could have answered well. Like he could have defined black jobs, which he didn't. I can't play the entire clip. Y'all can look it up if you want to look up the clip because I can't play this for long term. I just wanted to show this initial clip that I showed because of this. Here's the problem that I have with black people. Number one is this. When you look at this panel, you see black journalists interviewing Trump. The one thing that stands out is it's all black females. Once again, we're in this cycle where we just think that black women, and women period, but black people take things to the extreme. Because when white people push feminism, you're still going to see white men out there in, the alpha role. They're going to be in a leadership role. You're going to see that whether it's in movies, whether it's in television, or whether it's in, real life optics on TV, whether it's in journalism and so forth. In this panel, they gave you 3 black women. They couldn't give you 2 black women and 1 black male. There was no black male qualified. So they just it's like we have to have this run on black female dominance. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the black female in the blue suit, don't know her name is. She's a horrible person, should be fired from wherever she works. She came on the stage with an agenda to argue and be combative because you can tell that she is a Kamala supporter. Just from watching this interview, you can tell that she is a Kamala supporter. Now, the problem that I have with journalism is we have gotten so far away from being objective in journalism that they can't even, be neutral during the interview process. As Donald Trump stated here, when he comes out, he shakes her hand, he says, I'm glad to be here. She does say, how you doing? But if you look at her face the whole time, she has her disposition set in a particular manner. She's looking for a fight. She knows that she came there to be combative with him. So typically when you do that type of stuff, you kind of fix your disposition so that you can kind of get into the mud with people. She didn't smile at him. She didn't do anything. If you watch her face, even though in the beginning the guy has a camera blocking her face, but you can see she's not smiling. She sits down and she immediately goes into attack mode she fired off about like 12 examples of Donald Trump being quote unquote racist. And I'm not trying to say that her argument is not valid, but what I'm saying is that the very first way that you want to start off an interview process? Do you just want to immediately start off by, jumping right into it? That's just like if you were to go on a date with someone, or if you were to go into an interview and they immediately just pulled up, some page and said, we looked at you online and we looked and found out all this negative information about you. They just started going in at you right at the very beginning. I think that's kind of setting the tone for where they stand with you or how they view you or perceive you and what they think about you. She could have easily just asked, a regular question, just like when you saw the third lady, I think her last name is Harris, the one in the red suit, when Donald Trump pivots to her, he says, we had a nice interview. And then she just basically said, so, what is your position? Why are you coming here today? She allowed him an open-ended question to talk about what he wanted to get from meeting with the National Association of Black Journalists. Whereas that other female just wanted to go right into attack mode, or why are you attacking a black woman? And that is where I have a problem. This is also the other problem too, is that as Donald Trump is talking, you can hear the feedback from the audience. Some people are cheering, some people are trying to clap, and then you hear a bunch of mumbling and heckling. So let me just say this to you all black people. When you invite people, and let's just be clear, white people are the people of power in this country. Let's just be clear about that. Because if you put a black person in power, they're too scared to do anything for black people. Obama's presidency should have showed y'all that. It illustrated that. Michelle Obama even admitted, I didn't want to wear braids because I didn't want white people to feel a certain type of way. I forgot, I'm paraphrasing. She literally said that. You're the most powerful female. You're the first lady, and you're afraid to wear braids. Obama didn't want to meet with the Congressional Black Caucus. I don't want to help out all black people. I want to help all people. Too afraid to set policy for black people. This comes from our leadership. I'm not making this up. When white people are in office, they are in so much power and comfort, and they're so comfortable with being in power, they don't think about things like that. If they want to help out this particular community or even their own white community, they do it. They just go ahead and do it. When they want to have an all-white presidential cabinet, they do it, and they don't care. They don't sit up here and try to justify themselves because they know that they are the leader of the free world. So I'm bringing that up because of this. When you invite a white person, and I'm going to give you a scenario in a minute, because that's just like a black person being invited to an all-white event. Number one, if you know that you're the only black person in the room and you're looking out to a crowd of a National Association of White Journalists, and you just have an all-white journalist, you have all-white interviewers, and they're asking you a bunch of race-based questions, it's going to get uncomfortable. I don't care who you are. You're going to be uncomfortable having those conversations. So for her to bring a potentially future president of the United States of America into their journalist room and to immediately start attacking him, and then for the audience to start heckling and laughing like they're doing, do you think that's going to encourage other future white people to come to an all-black event, whether it's the AKA, maybe the AKAs want to interview, maybe some sorority or fraternity, maybe the alphas may want to have an interview. I don't know, maybe the Congressional Black Caucus, maybe the NAACP, whatever black organization is out there. Do you think that you're going to get a future white candidate to come back into your organization and go underneath a firing squad like that if they know that they're going to come in and be ambushed with a bunch of questions like this? Now, once again, I'm not trying to say that she cannot ask those questions, but why, number one, you as an interviewer setting the tone immediately as soon as this man comes out on stage, you don't give him a smile. I'm pretty sure her energy was off, and that's why he probably reacted to her energy. You don't give him any type of body language, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, that signifies that this is going to be a welcome, open process for dialogue. She's immediately being challenging towards him, and you can tell she's like, I'm not going to back down. I'm going to stand my ground. And I have a problem with that, to be honest with you. You have to at least make people feel welcome and invited. You can still ask the questions and maybe you rephrase it in a particular manner. And then also, too, you save that question for when you get to like probably maybe the 10-minute mark, maybe you're 10, 15 minutes into the interview process or the conversation. The second thing, too, is why is the audience being so loud? I mean, as he's talking, and once again, I didn't play the entire clip, so you probably like, what are you talking about? But you all have to go back and watch it. Why? Like, there's no need for the audience to be chiming in. You're a spectator. Just sit there and listen. If you feel the need that there's a point that's made to clap, clap. And if there's a point that's not meant to be made that you don't like, just sit there and be silent. There's no need for boos. There's no need for heckles. You invite someone into your house, into your space, and that is the National Association of Black Journalists. That is their house because you're hosting him. So when you invite people in as a guest, you should make them feel as welcome as possible. And once again, that's not saying that you can't ask hard questions, but you make a person feel welcome. Because again, this person could potentially be the future president of the United States of America come November. And come November, do you think these people don't remember this type stuff that happens? And so therefore it's like, I try to help out black people. And the moment I try to help out black people, I get ambushed into this and these black people turn on me. And then you want to know why people aren't trying to help you out. You get more with honey and sugar, as the saying would go. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And I don't know why she decided to take this approach. But I would recommend that people go and watch this video because this is a lesson on how to get what you want. In order for you to get what you want, you have to be amicable and agreeable. And I don't understand why black women, well, women period, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is a nasty individual too. And it's also another woman in Congress, white female, that's nasty as well. But women just seem to take the nasty approach to being in power. When they have a position of power and or authority, they seem to think that they have to bully their way through things, as opposed to, and I don't understand how they gotten to that point, because back in the day, women used to get you more so with honey. They used to butter you up, and then by the time they finesse you, you'd be like, man, I can't believe I got finessed, because she had suckered you. She had used some sweet words, rubbed your back or rubbed your shoulder a little bit, smiled in your face, and then she hit you off with, can I get $100? And then she took the $100 and ran. I don't know. But today, the women are just acting like this. But this is just my thought. I mean, I'm being honest. Do you think in the future that any other white candidate is going to want to come down and sit down with a bunch of black people and hear what issues you have on the table if you're going to act like this? And that's why I wanted to make this video. If you want to see the full interview that they did with Donald Trump at the National Association of Black Journalists, just go look it up, because once again, I can only post things. I can only post a certain amount of time of the video, and maybe I've gone over. Hopefully I don't get flagged on this one, but I just kind of wanted you to see the exchange process. So once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. I'm out of here.